Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Custom. So today we're sharing with you a finished PrototypeZ resin kit called the Chelonian statue. I really don't know if that's the actual name, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I just never really heard the correct pronunciation of it, so maybe you guys could correct me. Maybe you guys know better than I do. I just don't know, but I just think he's just pretty cool looking. So, a friend of mine gave it to me a while back. I did a kit review. You can check out that review. You can see how it's all broken down and pieced together. I got him together fairly fast while I was working on other stuff. Then we had some bad weather recently where I couldn't really do a lot of priming of my items. I couldn't go outside sanding. It was just too much moisture in the area. And I was just kind of able to do smaller type projects recently. So this was one of the projects I was able to get done fairly fast because I pretty much had them together and primed and ready to go. I just didn't have any paint on him, so I just kind of banged them out pretty fast. So it was a lot of fun to put together. I kind of break down how I piece them all up, but my friend that wanted them painted up wanted a different paint scheme from the way PrototypeZ had theirs painted up, and that's why I always say garage kits and statues, you can always do what you want to do. You don't have to do what's on the box, you don't have to do what other people are doing, just because, one picture of like even an anime kit you get off of eBay and stuff, just because it's all painted up one style doesn't mean you need to paint it up that way. You can do whatever you want. So he came over, we hashed out all the details. He wanted more of like a turtle look with greens and more of a bone shells, and the weapon was more of a metallic weapon with flame, and then the base, he really didn't know what he wanted with the base, and I thought it would be kind of cool just to do a very dark, muted, like old tree branch base. Instead of focusing on the base too much, I wanted to focus more on the figure and the weapon. I didn't want your eye going down to the base. I wanted it coming up more to the top. So that's kind of what we hashed out. And I kind of break down how I put it together and all the paints and everything. So the head is removable because there is two different heads. So what I did is I put a little tiny magnet in here, and I have a magnet there. Now it is messy, but it doesn't really matter because the heads are going to kind of cover it anyway. So, and this is the other head as well. So I did that. Now, because of the way he is, as you can see, and I'm kind of turning him around, as you can see, he's pretty much a solid piece. This type of figure, I could not go in and out of the base. I couldn't peg it here and peg it here because this wasn't all lined up correctly and everything. So I figured the best way to do this was to attach him here and attach him here and put a metal rod as far as I can go up there, and put a metal rod from the base all the way up to here as far as I go. So there's a big huge metal rod here, and there's a metal rod going up to about there. So he is attached to the base very well. Now, the other thing I was concerned about is putting together and painting him was it's very hard to paint back in here. So you don't really want to have this attached and everything unless you would glue it in at the end. But what I came up with is, in the hand, we'll get a little bit closer here. So if you pop this out, this is magnetized into the hand. So as you can see, I have a metal rod here. It goes fairly long, maybe about like that long. And then what I did in here is there's a little brass square piece in here. And then about that far down on the square piece, as you can see, it's about like that long. There's a magnet on the bottom of that brass piece. So instead of just going sliding in and not actually staying, it actually does connect to the magnet piece. I just got to make sure I do this right. I kind of had to put it in at an angle and let it come down because it kind of goes in and then it sets. It was because if you try to do it like just go straight in, you would kind of hit the back and everything. I didn't want to do that. So once I got all the engineering stuff done, which came out pretty cool, it was just a matter of painting him up and getting him out the door. So, and after we talked about all the paint work and what he wanted to do, it was just more of a turtle, colors, very messy, a lot of blending. I did try to follow the artwork a little bit, how they painted theirs up. So, of course, this is kind of like a bone going into flesh. Then we have all the bones around here. Of course, the pieces of his elbows, all the bones and everything, the nails, and then all the way down there. Now you can see if you see the actual box, the one thing that I had to actually kind of take upon myself to do was this nail here. And I know that's not really a big deal, but it's actually cut off. It's like a broken nail. But when I was putting him onto the base and everything on this piece, it wasn't lining up correctly. So I actually had to re-sculpt a lot of the tree underneath the foot. And then I figured, you know what, let's just bring this nail down just to give him a big long toenail like this nail over here. So I figured that would probably be my best bet. It's a little artistic freedom, and my friend didn't really mind too much because it's not that big of a deal. You know, of course, the tree, if you watch my video of the review, it's cut off here. So I actually had to glue it and then re-sculpt all the tree going all the way around. That is just one thing that was a little upsetting about the kit, was because it was cut here. And when you have something cut through all detail, you have to re-sculpt all that detail. And that's kind of, if you're not really used to building kits and stuff, that's one thing that's kind of like a little bit more advanced. But if you take your time, you could come up with something and bring it together. So, and then, you know, once all the skin tone was done, we came up with all the colors. I had a lot of blood marks, as you can see in the hand over there, the head with the eye, the back of the head over there, there's blood. Over here with this leg, there's scratch marks with blood. And then the back of it, as you can see, he's got this. Now, I guess on the PrototypeZ one, they made it so the head in the background on here is actually like part of the shell. But we got to talk, and it kind of cool. Like, this is another head. So he's got a head up front, and he's got a head and back through the shell. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea. So it's kind of like, you know, it's a whole living piece all around him. I use a lot of garage kit colors for the bones. They had like sandstone, aged bone, did some transparency colors, just kind of bringing it together. And the green's all mixed up with different paints. I just kind of got my own little green mixtures going, did a lot of blending. And then for the weapon, which is kind of cool, this was a little bit different. Now I know PrototypeZ on their package, they did their weapon one way, we came up with a different way. So what they had, it was, this is all a transparent piece going around here. So they kept this all transparent, and then this all kind of solid. So when I talked to my friend, I said, why don't we blend this transparency with some A's, and then what I'll do is I'll make this all metal, because they have a screw piece here. It's kind of weird to have that transparency and this like kind of metal looking screw piece, not, you know, solid. So I said, why don't we do like a flame type thing coming out of the weapon. So this is kind of an all metal piece. And then, you know, this looks like just screw and, you know, all the stuff, and the flame comes out clear. So that's kind of what we came up with, and I think that was a fun idea. As you can kind of see, though, the really cool thing I like about it is this piece, like this little triangle piece here, doesn't actually line up with this one. So you kind of see the transparency of the weapon over there. So it's almost like this weapon is kind of like feeding the flame blade out of it. So it's just something I came up with, you know. And, that's pretty much it. Straightforward, just having a lot of fun with different colors, blending. I primed him up, and then I gloss coated him in Car Duplicolor Gloss Black. And I left a lot of the black kind of like in the, so it's kind of like a lot of washing with airbrushing and kind of building it up slowly. So some of the black is showing through in a way, but it gives him that little bit of a wetness look to him, like he's kind of sleek a little bit. And that's kind of what we were aiming for. But we kept all the bone and everything kind of a flat. So we kind of wanted to keep that flat. But I didn't gloss coat him to the point where he's looking like he's soaking wet. It's just kind of one of those things we came up with. And then, like I said, with the base, it was just more or less just letting the base be very oldish, very bland, not really focusing, going crazy. So it's a lot of brown washes, a lot of grays, blues, a little bit of dry brushing, and then taking it down again. And just kind of making it old. Like I said, we want to focus here. We don't want to focus down there. Because, you know, and then if I made this a green or brown, it would take too much out of your eyesight down here. So it's kind of like mute those colors down there, focus up here. And that's kind of what we came up with. So, there you go. Really cool kit. If you guys are interested in it, PrototypeZ, I've got them up for sale. It's a lot of fun. If you really want to do something like a monster type kit, you really want to try some different things, this is a really cool kit to try. You know, maybe you want him a brown monster, maybe you want him very bloody, maybe you want him to be like a purple monster. It's like you have your free reign to do whatever you want on this kit, because it's nothing specific that you don't have to follow. But like every other kit, you can do whatever you want. So, there you go. Really fun kit, a lot of detail, really big. Once you get it together, you have a lot of fun doing it. And there you go. So, there is the PrototypeZ. I don't know the name of it, but you guys get the idea. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.